In today's episode of Esports Analysis, we're hopping on board with CLAYSTER as CLAYSTER and the rest of the Dallas Empire, Crimsix, Shotzi, Illy, and Hugh take on the Chicago Huntsmen, Arcity's Envoy, Formal, Scump, and Gunless. In this one, we're watching the Dallas Empire completely dominate Chicago Huntsmen in a game of domination on the map Hackney Yard. As we're focusing on the gameplay here, what I do want to tell you is that we're only going to watch half of this map. And reason being is because there's one half of this that if you have control of one half of the map, that's how you win the game. So if you have A and B, like the Empire have right now, and the enemy spawning at C, that's how you win this game. So at the beginning there, CLAYSTER was in that back right apartments building, and the whole reason why he was back there was to watch the flank as the enemy team, as the Huntsmen, come from C and try to flank around green, trying to get to A. In this one, I want to do something just a tiny bit different. Most of the time, I explain strategy on screen with graphics and circles and kind of pointing out which areas teams are trying to overtake. In this one, I want to hop into a private match just because I think this way it might be a little bit easier to explain. If it's not, please let me know down in the description below which one you prefer. But without further ado, let me explain this in a private match. Alright, so hopping into a private match real quick, I want to show you why the strategy is what it is on this map and how the pros go ahead and execute it. So A's back there, B's in the middle, C's on that side. What you want to have on this map is that the good side is to have A and B, so that the enemy has C. If the enemy has C, they're going to be spawning on C at that back building. And if you have C, so if you have a triple cap and you have people in C, B, and A, then they're going to be spawning in green. So this two-story building here is called green, bottom green, top green. Now, let's talk about why this strategy is the way it is. Let's say we have A and we have B, and we're pushed up to this mid-map area. Let's think about this. If the enemy is spawning back C, there's only a couple ways that they can get out of that spawn trap. They can either climb up on top of this roof here, and then they have one or two ways out that way, or there's a really strong choke point right here. Right, if you're sitting up here in top L, so this is called top L, bottom L's underneath us, but if you're sitting here, it's really hard for them to get around this choke point. So if you come back here, I'll just show you real quick. The only way to get out, say you have C and you're spawning here, the only way to get out is to run through this choke point, which if you're facing pros and they have head glitches here and there and maybe down here, maybe middle map, it's going to be really hard to run through this place. So one thing you can do is throw your smoke. If you had smoke, you could throw it here and get out a little bit. But the only other way to get out would be to run up here, right? Do one of these, and you can't use that jump, right? As soon as you're playing a pro, and if they have a head glitch on top L up there, and you go to run up here, you're going to get killed. There's no way that you can make this kill against a pro. So the only other option you have is to, say I spawn here. Well, on the other side, I either have to run through this choke point, or I could take one of these two jumps. So I could jump up here on the corner, jump to this roof, jump on this roof. I could get out this way. But if we have a pro maybe head glitching that box that's really popular, or this side over here, again, by the time you mantle up, you're going to be dead. You could also jump on this blue van and then jump over and get up the same way. But either way, as you're mantling up here, a pro that's pre-aiming here is going to kill you. The last thing that you could do is, if you're spawning C, you could run through here, get up top this top C building, and then you're in the same area. So this is why C is such a deadly spawn trap, because there's only a couple ways that you could get out. Whereas, say you have C and you have B and you're pushed up mid-map. Look the other way, all the different ways that the enemy team could get out. If they're spawning A, they could run over here, and not only could they just run through this little choke point, but you could also get over right here, right? You could climb over right here. You could also climb up on top of this box. You could also climb on top of this cop car and then get on this wall, and you can get on top of this ledge without them seeing you at all, so you could get a pretty good counter to wherever they might be watching you from, whether it's mid-map or top green or whatever. Or you could run through this choke. You could easily throw a smoke right here. I have a stun. You could easily throw a smoke, have it go off right there, and now you can run through here. You could easily jump on this cop car, jump on this wall. You could probably see what's going on here. You could go over here. It's really easy to get to this choke point, right? There's not many counter lines of sight over here. So you could easily get up to this side and then get up to this ladder. So if we're just talking about strategy, if you're spawn trapped back at A, you can see that there are a lot easier ways to get out of A than if you were spawn trapped over at C. As we progress here, if you haven't seen my last video, I talk about the Huntsmen. They're playing Ramaza domination, and I kind of break down the idea of overextending, but essentially that's what you'd have to do to flip this spawn trap if you're spawning C. So let's say I'm spawning C back here, right? What you have to do is you can't go that way. It's just too hard. And if you go that way, then you're directly in front of B. So to flip this, what you would want to do is all 5 of your teammates would want to push this side. And what happens is you'll see that essentially people start to battle with people that are spawning green. So if you have A and B, then what's going to happen is eventually that other team will get pushed up into green. And if you get pushed up into green, or this half wall over here, essentially you want to overextend. So if you're just approaching from C to B, you want to overextend and go towards A. Because if you start getting towards A and your team starts spawning at A, then all of a sudden it's easier to get to B. And if you get B, then now the enemy team's going to spawn out C. So this goes back to domination, basically goes down to setting up spawn traps or overextending. So if you're in C, what you want to do is you want to push this green side. You want to try to overextend, get to A. If you get to A, then you get those spawns, and then it's easier to push into B. And if you have A and B, then now the enemy team will be spawning in C, and now you can set up the spawn trap that we just talked about. Now, as we go ahead and hop back into this match between the Empire and the Huntsmen, what you can see is that they're spawning A, that side that we just talked about. A couple people died, and CLAYSTER rotated back, and right now he's killing people as they're trying to rotate to A. So Chicago is trying to rotate through green and get to A so that they could have A and get B and spawn the other team at C. Now, if you have really good assault rifles, this is a popular building where CLAYSTER is right now. This is a really popular building because it's really easy to hold down that flank. Remember, we said we wanted to run through green towards that side to get to A. If you have really strong assault rifles, such as CLAYSTER and Formal, and most professional teams do have really good ARs, that's a great spot to sit because they're trying to flank through that green flank, and if you have an AR watching that side, it's going to be really hard for them to get through over there. Now, as we progress throughout this match a little bit, there isn't that much time left. There's like 4 minutes left. But as we progress through this, what you're going to see is that Huntsmen are kind of split up a little bit, right? CLAYSTER's got a ton of action going on over here. He just killed Scump. He just killed a couple other people over there. Huntsmen are kind of approaching this spot in kind of a split push. So some people are going to B, some people are going towards A, rather than all flanking it together. What you're watching Clay do right now is that a couple of the Empire players ended up falling in B. So now you can see he's still watching that cross going to A. He's just not on that side of the map. So if he's looking right where he's looking right now and he sees a couple people run through, he could easily rotate back and try to finish those kills. It's just now he's trying to support his teammates that are at B that might have went down and still watch A at the same time. So right here, he just got killed by 2AC, but that's kind of a vulnerable spot in the map, right? You're kind of like right in the middle, so it didn't end up affecting them at all. So still, Chicago's making that B push when they should be hitting that flank as hard as they can. They're still trying to push through top L, bottom L. Right now, there's one in that top AC part, so they're still trying to push into that warehouse building, when really, it's kind of just like banging your head against the wall. As hard as you try against a pro team, if you don't have map advantage, everybody's kind of right within each other, right? Everybody has good gun skill, everybody has good map knowledge, but if you don't have positioning on the map like this, two people just instantly, and then Formal's here, Formal pops out, CLAYSTER gets this kill too, so they're still trying to push into this B building, and it's not going to work. So right now, 3 people just died. There's one person on A, but there's only one of them, right? They're not spawning there yet. Now, last thing I want to point out here, this is a really smart play from Clay. So right now, they're trying to take back A. And rather than have 2 people on it, if you had both people on the A flag, nobody could watch this right side. So that person that just ran around right there, Clay wouldn't have been there to kill him. So could he have snuck in there and got a double kill? I don't know, but it's really smart. Most people think, okay, there's 2 people here, let's just go ahead, let's hop the flag. But what's smarter is actually one person going out, getting that right cut, so that in that way, that person would have to win 2 individual gun battles to go ahead and stop that A capture and capture it themselves. So with that, guys, thank you so much for tuning into another video. The support has been tremendous recently. My channel is growing faster than it's ever grown before, and I'm just excited to put more of these out and continue to grow. So don't leave without leaving a like, and I'll catch you in the next one. See ya.